I wanted to do a video about a book that I'm reading that it's called A Billion Years of Sex Differences by an evolutionary psychologist called Stephen Williams, something like that. I'm sorry, I don't know, I don't remember his whole name, but he's he's really popular. He's really well. I've been following for like 6 years when the Ape That Understood the Universe came out. I remember I had a really good time with him, and it was a nice surprise because at that point he was like, okay, here's this new evolutionary psychologist. Hopefully it rains. But anyway, wow, wow, it's kind of shocking. But anyway, I remember reading the Ape That Understood the Universe, and it was good. It was really good. I mean, that brings me to the point I wanna do a video about, and is that when look that book came out 6 years ago, and something that I really like at that time was the joke he mentions about Donald Simmons, which was extremely funny to me, but it's not that funny to anyone that I told it. That I told that joke to. You can look it up. Just look it up like Donald Simmons' favorite joke. Donald Simmons is one of the pioneers of sex research, and yeah, that was a good time. So my point is that in this book he talks about how he fell in love with evolutionary psychology, and it was reading The Moral Animal by Robert Wright. And that really hit me because that was, I think, my first or second evolutionary book too, which really made me like, oh my god, this is so, it makes a lot of sense. It really opened my eyes to understand human nature, and since then I haven't stopped. But he read that book in the 90s, and I read it almost like 20 years later. But it was like it was really nice. Like, oh, I felt like we all have kind of the same thing that makes us go into something. And it's been like probably like 16 years since I started, or 15, I don't know, reading all that. No, 13 years. And yeah, I just felt like that was kind of funny that we share the same book, but like decades later. And for me, it is, those guys are kind of special because where I studied psychology, well, saying that we were or we are like lagging behind, it's an understatement. So I don't know if it was luck or what, but I just bumped into some books and I started reading and never stopping it. So all my university, I did my own study. I didn't care much for my professors and stuff like that, which they were nice, but it just didn't resonate with me what they were teaching. It felt like it was really antiquated. So I remember having some question. I actually came into, this is like 15 years ago, and like wondering if there was free will by myself, and then suddenly I bumped into David Eagleman Incognito book, and all that, how the mind works, Steven Pinker, The Moral Animal, The Red Queen, and all that. So those, to me, those were my real professors. So Steven is like the newest one because there's a few that I mean, there's a lot of books that I read and stuff like that, but I have a few that I consider my professors. One of them, Steven Pinker, Robert Sapolsky, now this Steven, Michael Shermer, Paul Bloom, who else? Richard Dawkins, Robert Wright, this guy, Matt Ridley, yeah. And yeah, those are my professors, my real professors. So anyway, just wanted to make this video about that. It's a journal, and you know, I don't want to make light of this because it is really shocking. It's shocking. I couldn't believe it. I thought it was like a joke or something because Oliver Tree is kind of a prankster, and this YouTuber, the Argentinian YouTuber, it's kind of a troll. He's funny and all that. So I was like, what the heck is this? And something that happened like a few days ago too was that in Brazil, a girl died because she bungee jumped, and the people there they didn't uh, harness her rope, I guess. So to me, that's murder. So I thought it was they were making joke of that. So I was like, okay, that was kind of distasteful, but whatever. Anyway, bye.